The biggest thing that my clients are asking me right now is, how do I move the ball forward with inflation being so high? And it's a valid question. My top 3 tips to get ahead with your finances with inflation being high right now are: number 1, to actually, when you're thinking about your debt, to build up your savings as you're paying down your debt at the same time. Because one of the things that happens is you're trying to just plug away at your debt, putting extra to it, but then a bigger expense comes up that you're not prepared for, and then it sets you back. And then you're just doing this roller coaster. Think about, what are some of those big expenses that are going to come up? Do you want to do some traveling this summer? And actually opening a separate savings account for each of those goals. So then when you're putting extra towards debt, it's not you put it towards it and then you add to it. It's really, truly sustainable that way. So I call these savings buckets. It works really well. You can do it for travel, for your kids' account, for their activities, for things like gifts. So think about the different ones that you have. Open a separate savings account. It's a little bit of work on the front end, but I can promise you it will streamline your money and actually make it more consistent going forward. Money is super emotional and we tend to just like to avoid it. So really thinking about the habit side of things and how consistent you are interacting with your money. I don't mean just stressing about it. I mean, sitting down with it for about 15 minutes at a time is perfect. 1 to 2 times a week, and plan, what are those one-offs coming up? What do I need to have money prepared for? And really interacting with your money more and really giving yourself grace. Right now, when you look at it, it might be really uncomfortable. You might not like what you're seeing, but just allowing yourself to say, you know what, this isn't, maybe the greatest situation right now, but if I spend time on this consistently, it is going to get better. One of the things that I think that people spend too much of an emphasis on of where their money is going and the amount that they're spending on is actually their vehicle. And I know a lot of people won't like to hear that. I think if you can keep your total vehicle expenses under 15% of your income, that is something that can help out a lot. But a lot of times people don't even realize how much should they spend on a vehicle. So that's something that I see. It can be really hard to pay down debt, build up your savings, and put money towards retirement if you have a vehicle that basically costs a lot more than what you think it costs. Right now, with debt being so high, the 2 tips that I would recommend for helping you to bring your debt level down is: number 1, if you use a credit card, pay off your new charges on a weekly basis. This will make a massive difference for you instead of getting your statement and it being a little bit traumatic. The other thing is that will help you with your credit score, which also helps you on the interest rates that you're paying. The second thing is to actually use a second checking account for your day-to-day expenses. So for things like your groceries, your eating out, and your fuel, when you get paid, transferring a set amount to that account and using a debit card for those expenses. So if you see that you have X amount in that account that's going to last for the next 2 weeks, you don't have to do any additional tracking. This one tip alone has saved a lot of my clients over $400 a month. And honestly, the number 1 thing is you can only cut your costs so much. So focusing on increasing your income, spending some time, I know that is not going to happen overnight, but looking at how can you increase your skills and then starting to see what else is out there in the marketplace, spending time doing that is going to be the biggest thing versus figuring out where can I save like $5 at a time. Really think about the bigger picture of things. Inflation is going to be staying where it's at. So if you can increase your income, that is going to be the biggest thing to help you. Figure out what are those goals you'd love to hit this year and then break it down into those bite-sized pieces. Because if you just set a goal of I want to pay off $5,000 or $10,000 of debt this year, that might feel too big. The smaller that the goals are, the more achievable it will feel, the more excited and the more momentum you'll build, and it'll be a lot easier to achieve that actual big goal.